Please hold. Your feud is important to us. This episode is brought to you by Sentry. They just launched Session Replay. It's a video-like reproduction of exactly what the user sees when using your application. And I'm here with Ryan Albrecht, Senior Software Engineer at Sentry, and one of the leads behind their emerging technologies team that built this feature. Ryan, what is this team all about?
Emerging Technologies has been one of the greatest teams I've been working on, in my career, and I think it's been highly successful. We just today launched Session Replay, and so it's a big celebration here, but I think that what we've built is going to be able to help all of our customers to solve their problems faster and really look at debugging and fixing issues in a new way.
So what is Session Replay?
Session Replay, it's a video-like reproduction of what your user saw. Instead of recording a video, we're recording the actual DOM nodes that appear and disappear on the screen, and then we can replay those to you in your own browser. So what this lets you do is you can actually see exactly what the user experienced in the application, take the guesswork out of trying to triage and what are the reproduction steps, stop at a point and inspect the DOM to see, was this paragraph tag in the right spot? What are the CSS and the background colors? You can look at everything as if you were on that customer's machine.
There you go. So if you've been playing detective, trying to track down support tickets, read through breadcrumbs, stack traces, and the like, trying to recreate this situation of a bug or an issue that your application has, now you have a game-changing feature called Session Replay. Head to Sentry.io and log into your dashboard. It's right there in the sidebar to set up in your front end. And if you're not using Sentry, hey, what's going on? Head to Sentry.io and use the code PARTYTIME. That gets you 3 months for free on the team plan. Again, Sentry.io and use the code PARTYTIME. Feud is important to us.
This is JS Party, your weekly celebration of JavaScript and the web. Bandwidth for JS Party is provided by Fastly. Learn more at fastly.com. And our podcasting platform is powered by Fly. Host your app servers and database close to your users. No ops required. Learn more at fly.io.
It's time to play Frontend Feud.
Welcome, friends. This is Frontend Feud, everyone's favorite award-worthy game show made by the award-winning JS Party podcast that you're listening to this very moment. I'm Jared Santo, and I'd like to thank all 100 of our savvy, tasteful, good-looking audience members for taking the time to take the survey, which makes this game possible. After dethroning the Shop Talk guys last time we played, Una Kravitz and Adam Argyle are back from the CSS podcast defending their title. Welcome to the show.
Woo!
Thank you.
Let's see if we can go 2 for 2.
We shall see. We shall see. And our challengers, we have David and Shaw from the Keyframers show. Welcome, guys.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Oh, jinx.
They're already on the same page. This is a problem, Adam.
That may not work if we're trying to sync up on what the audience is thinking, though.
Exactly.
That's true. Now, I've been told that it's customary in game shows to take a moment and get to know each of our contestants. But I didn't really have time to prep for this, so I asked our intern, Larry, to do some research and write up a question, one for each of you, which I will read now. So, Una, do you remember the first time you rode a bike without training wheels?
I do remember.
All right, thank you. Adam, who is your daddy and what does he do?
I'm a cop, you idiot.
Very good. David, I'm told you play the piano?
I do.
Where do you think Elton John gets those fancy outfits he wears on stage?
Oh, I don't know. Probably coordinates with Billy Joel. I have no idea.
Good answer. Shaw, do you like apples?
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Well, I got her number. How do you like that? Larry, that's terrible. It's not even a question. Gosh. Let's just move on. Let's move on to our game, which, as you know, is not a game about how much front end or JavaScript or developer information you all have in your heads. It's how well you know the life of a developer, the choices, the answers that our listening audience put into those text boxes on the survey. So here's how it works. We have 6 rounds. Of course, 2 teams. Each round has a game board in which we have a statement followed by the top matching answers, highest to lowest. Your job is to match the highest ranking answers, accumulate points, and the team with the most points at the end of 6 rounds wins. Now, each round starts with what we call an interface off, because we love puns, and in which one person from each team steps up and gets to guess first. The person who matches the highest ranking answer on the board during that time gets to take the round, and their team plays that entire round until 3 strikes occur, at which point the other team can steal the points in the round with 1 guess. Now, there's no conferring between you and your teammate during the regular round, but during the steal, y'all can talk, decide, and figure out which steal you're going to play. Any questions?
When does Steve Harvey get here?
You're looking at him. I'm your Steve Harvey today. I apologize in advance. This is as good as it's going to get. All right, first up in our interface off, it is David versus Yuna. Step right up. All right, ladies first. Yuna, we asked 100 JS Party listeners, which server-side JavaScript runtime do they expect to be using 3 years from now? What do you suppose was their response?
Runtime. So is this like Node.js? Because that's been pretty popular for a long time and likely will continue.
Is that your answer?
Yes, that's my final answer.
Final answer?
Final answer.
Survey says that is the number 1 answer. So,
Woo!
43 of 100 said they would be using Node 3 years from now. So that means David does not get a chance. I apologize, but Yuna stole the board. And now Team CSS Podcast gets to play. There are 4 total answers on the board. You've got the number 1 answer, and you now need to find the other 3. I shall say, in order to make it on the board, an answer must have at least 5 responses. So you may match something that somebody said, but we had to have 5 people say it for it to make the board. So, CSS Podcast is live.
This is a hard one.
It's Adam's turn. There's 3 left. You already have Node. Which server-side JS runtime do people expect to be using 3 years from now?
The one I just built my site on top of, Dino.
Show me Dino. It is on there. Let's find out where it is.
Can't just rearrange letters. It's cheating.
In fact, number 2, 30 respondents said they'd be using Dino 3 years from now. Very good. So we go back.
I got another one. Is this on Yuna or can
it goes back to her now, so you'll have another chance.
It goes back to me.
Yep, it toggles back and forth till we get 3 strikes. You're halfway there, but there are 2 responses left. What do you think, Yuna?
Oh, God, I don't know. Server-side runtime. I don't even know if this is server-side runtime, but I know that there is a tool that's been growing in popularity, which has server-side rendering. I just don't know if this is a runtime or counts, because it's a server. But this is what runs a server, right?
Remember that the answers for this survey were completely based on the interpretation of the question by the survey taker. So they can take it however they want. I can't clarify what I meant because it meant something different to everybody. So go ahead and guess and just see what you can do.
God, this is going to be wrong. This is going to be wrong. But for some reason, I'm thinking Vite. But that's not a server-side runtime. But anyway.
Show me Vite.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but yes, that is incorrect. So you now have 1 strike against you. And we go back to Adam.
I say bun. Show me some buns.
Show us buns. Bun is on the list, number 4 with 7 responses. So now we have Node at number 1, Dino at number 2, number 3 is a question mark, and Bun with 7. You have 1 strike, so 2 more wrong guesses before a steal. We're back to you.
Okay, so I'm thinking with things like Node being very popular, maybe people are thinking along those lines. So maybe people are thinking of like, everything I'm thinking of is a framework on top of a runtime. That's the problem. This is a hard one. Damn, my next thought goes to like, oh, what if it's something like Express? If they're thinking about Node, but they're not sure what the right answer is here. But that's not a runtime. It's a framework that you use on top of Node. Can I phone a friend?
We will need some sort of a guess.
Different show.
That's a different show. We do not have that kind of budget around here.
What about Adam? Adam is my friend. He's here.
Well, you can get one wrong. It'll be back to him. He gets another chance. So you can just guess whatever you like. Remember, it's what they said. It's not what is correct.
That's true. I'll guess Express, but I just know that's probably not it. Unless it is.
Show me Express. It is not Express. I will say that there was at least one response that was Express. So you were not completely wrong, but not 5.
No, I was wrong. I knew that I was wrong.
I was trying to throw you a bone. 2 strikes. Back to Adam. Okay, this is it. You got one guess. You got one on the board. What do you think people said to this question about JS runtimes 3 years from now?
Yep. So I'm just going to go with the first one that I wrote down. Not sure if it's totally it, and maybe there's multiple terms, but it's either Cloudflare workers or edge workers in general. So just running your servers at the edge in a serverless function.
Okay. Show us edge workers. I'm sorry, that is also not on the board. We now have an opportunity to steal. There's 80 points up for grabs. So keyframers, guys, if you steal this, you get the 80 plus the correct answer. If you don't, the 80 goes to Una and Adam and we move on. So you get one guess. You can discuss together.
Fingers crossed.
At number 3 slot. What is it? What is it?
All right, well.
What are you thinking, David? What are you thinking?
I mean, I was also thinking Cloudflare. Cloudflare workers were workers too. But there has to be something else obvious that we're not thinking of.
WebAssembly is the only thing that's coming to mind for me.
You know what? Yeah, I think that's let's go for it. That's a good guess.
WebAssembly, final answer.
For the steal, WebAssembly. I'm sorry, but it was not WebAssembly, which means CSS Podcast is awarded 80 points.
See, this is the luck aspect.
And we will now see what is that magical number 3.
It's not IOJS, right? That was old.
Is it Bazel or something?
One thing you have to know about JS Party listeners is they love to reject the premise of the question.
None.
The answer is none. They do not see themselves using a JS runtime.
I was trying to answer with the rejection of the premise as well.
Right?
What if they just misspelled node? You know, it doesn't count.
Ooh, also a possibility. 8 people misspelled node.
They're just a few keyboard clicks away.
Didn't one just show up though after Bun? Like Bun got their funding, and I thought somebody else showed up recently. That's like another fast job, and I couldn't remember what it was, but maybe I'm confusing it with.
What about browser-based JS runtimes?
No, didn't make the list. A few other runners up. So 3 people said Remix. 2 said Astro. 1 person said Ruby on Rails.
Yeah, but those are frameworks. What?
This is the same problem, not runtimes.
It's the same problem. And 1 person said an unreleased Go framework, which I think they're going to be releasing or something, but that's what they're going to be using 3 years from now.
You heard it here first.
So you heard it here first. All right, that brings us to round 2. So after the first round, CSS Podcast holds on to their 80 points. We now move to round 2. And our interface off is between Shaw and Adam. Step right up.
Ooh, brothers from another mother.
Let's go.
All right, we'll let Shaw go first on this one. The question is, every big tech company wants to hire you. Compensation is identical. Which do you choose? There are 5 answers on the board. Shaw, we go to you.
Ah, man. That's tough. What does the audience think is the question. I'm gonna go with Apple.
Show us Apple. You are correct, and it is the number 1 answer with 21 respondents choosing Apple, which means keyframers, you get to play this round, and we go to David for another guess.
Awesome. Well, running through the Fang, Mango, whatever we want to call it, I would say another one would be, I just came from Microsoft, so I don't know if that's the obvious one though. Man, is OpenAI a big, you know what? Let's go with the obvious first, Microsoft.
Show us Microsoft. Number 2 answer with 18. Very nice. Back to you, Shaw. We are now rolling in round 2.
I'm gonna say Google is definitely on there.
Show us Google. Number 3 answer, 13 points to you, sir. Very well played.
Going down the list.
Do I get extra points for going in order?
You get kudos from me. You have the top 3, 4, and 5. Of course, it gets more difficult as you get further down because there's lots of big tech companies to guess from. David, what are you thinking?
I was going to say Amazon, but that's like The only reason you would work there is for the compensation. No offense. But if it's identical, then, you know what? Let's do Netflix. That's a big one.
Show us Netflix. Number 5 answer. Very good. So you lost your purity in order, but you did not lose your purity in guesses. So you're 4 for 4. There's 1 left. Number 4 is still open. 0 strikes against you. So you have 3 guesses at this before steal.
Man, I wouldn't want to work there, but Meta/Facebook is probably on the list somewhere, mostly because of their React development. I'm sure people want to be a part of.
Show us Meta. Strike number 1. Not in the top 5. David, back to you.
Good on you, audience.
All right, let's go with the obvious. Amazon.
Show me Amazon.
What?
Amazon had 3, but didn't quite make the top 5.
Jeez.
Now we have 2 strikes. We're down to our last guess. Yuna and Adam, start thinking about a steal.
Okay, what else is in the acronym? We've got... man, I'm not even thinking of any other top companies.
Am I allowed to help, or are we on the same team?
Not at this point. During a steal, you can help.
Okay.
Yes, it's not Amazon. It's not Meta. And GitHub's a part of Microsoft, so that... Did you combine audience answers into...
Yes, GitHub is Microsoft, yes.
Okay. Geez. Let's go with OpenAI. I'm sure there's some interest out there.
OpenAI, is it in that number 4 slot, survey says? No, it is not. I'm sorry, but you could not clear the board. And so now we have an opportunity to steal from CSS Podcast, and you guys can discuss. So what are you thinking?
I'm thinking that this is a benefits-based answer, probably. That's kind of where my head's at.
All right, I'm thinking about where everybody just left these big companies. Where did they all go? What was the number 1 spot? If you did work at Apple, Microsoft, Google, where'd you bounce? Who stole everyone recently?
Apple fired no one.
Apple fired no one. I think that's why they're on top. Honestly, that's like
that might be.
I think Shopify.
That's a good idea. What do you think of Spotify?
That was also on my list. And the other one on my list here is Vercel, because they're so hot right now. Everyone's probably going to want to work there, and if compensation's good.
But I wouldn't call that a big tech company. So this is hard. This is hard because you only get one answer. I know a lot of great people that went to Shopify.
I only know a couple that went to Spotify.
But I can't say that they're doing better now than they were a year ago. I mean, nobody is. Not the people, the company. Spotify has those sweet benefits, just like Netflix. I think that people are thinking about the benefits with Netflix answer too.
Yeah, Shopify was all stock, right? Because they're like the e-commerce backbone.
Well, we're running out of time here. You're going to have to confer and pick one of these.
All right, Adam, you pick.
I'm going to say Shopify based on the stats of who and where. I don't know. Okay.
For the steal and 61 additional points to add to your score is Shopify number 4. It is not. So we will award the 61 points to the keyframers.
None.
Actually, I wrote self. I wrote myself on my thing. I should have remembered that. Yeah.
And I will say that you guys did not learn from last round, of course. 12 people said none. Should have saw that one coming, but it's difficult. So 3 people said Amazon, 3 people said Vercel, 3 said Spotify, 3 said Netflix, 2 said Cloudflare, 1 said Adobe, presumably after they heard about Katy Perry's mushroom-filled Fantasyland. And 1 said, anyone that lets me write Ruby. And then 1 said, the one with the least crazy CEO. So
ooh, burn.
There's a few runners up.
I feel like there's one audience member that's really set on Ruby on Rails.
I think so.
For real, yeah.
All the Ruby answers are coming in by 1 person. All right. So after 2 rounds, it's a tight game. CSS podcast with 80. Keyframers with 61, and we move now to round 3.
What's up, party people? This episode is brought to you by our new friends at Lolo Code. Lolo Code lets you build cloud-agnostic serverless apps that make it too easy to go from 0 to 1. If you're familiar with building serverless apps, you can think of Lolo Code as your backend with a visual editor to let you think and build at the same time. No servers to worry about. This is serverless. And I'm here with Gabor Naj, software engineer at Lolo Code. Tell me, Gabor, what gets you excited about Lolo Code for developers?
So Lolo Code is sort of all about the mentality of reducing the threshold and the pain of getting something from having an idea to actually having something in production. I think that a lot of developers that I know and that are out there know the sort of frustration of having an idea and wanting to prototype it, and it being a pretty difficult process of actually getting from, okay, I have an idea, and actually having a stack, having code, having it deployed into a cloud or whatever. It takes quite a bit of work, and Lolo really focuses on minimizing the effort required for that process to actually take place. It's a low-code environment built for developers, so that actually means that you get to visualize the different nodes and the data flows between them in your application, which kind of makes the whole process of prototyping and the whole process of sketching out the architecture and getting a better understanding of what it is that you're actually building and how the whole thing functions much easier to understand while you're actually developing the application. So instead of having to spend hours with a whiteboard first, you can actually sit down and start sketching out your application by creating these nodes and creating these links between them while you're actually already doing the development work.
Very cool. Thank you, Gabor. So Lolo Code is built for developers. Try it free today. No credit card required. Check them out at lolo.co/JSParty. Again, lolo.co/JSParty.
Now, this round is a little bit different. We call this the inverted round. So we're just going to take turns team by team guessing responses, but the points at the bottom of the board are higher than the points at the top. So while you're trying to match the board, you're actually trying to match the least popular answer to get more points. The question that we asked our listeners, how many monitors do you use while coding? There are 4 responses on the board, and I will say the least popular response is worth the most points. So David and Shaw played the last round. Let's let Una and Adam start this round. We're just going to go back and forth. And let's start with Una. Go ahead and guess what you think people said when we asked them how many monitors they use while coding.
Okay, so this is how many monitors they use, but the least popular answer.
That's what you want to get. They're all worth points. So
okay,
you can get the top score and get points, but you're going to get more points by getting the bottom score.
Well, I know how many I use. So I think what I want to go with is 3. Like if they have 2 monitors and their laptop, that's going to hurt your neck. But I know people do it. So my answer is 3.
All right, show us 3. 3 is on the board, and it is in slot number 3.
Oh.
14 people use 3 monitors, which means you get 15 points for that response. I'll award those now. And now we'll go back to keyframers, and let's go to Shaw. How many monitors do people use while coding?
Let's see. If we're going least popular, I'm gonna say 1 is on there, but it's not gonna be the top one.
Show us 1. Yes, 1 is on there, and it's the number 2 response. So you get slightly less points. You still score 10. 35 people out of the 100 use 1 monitor. We'll award those points now and go back to CSS podcast.
I'm team 1.
And we'll go to Adam. So we have 1 monitor is taken, 3 monitors is taken. Those are the 2 and 3 slots. The 1 and the 4 are still available. Of course, the 4 is worth more than the 1. What do you think?
I'm going to go with the pattern we've seen. People are going to say none. They're going to reject it. I don't. So people say don't or none. They're just using their...
No monitor coding. That's
just
impressive.
Their laptop.
I'm not using a monitor right now.
Oh,
so
yeah.
That's valid.
Yeah, I'm assuming this is like people are going to think of this as external monitors because it's impossible to... I guess it's not impossible to code without a monitor, but people are going to say none, just whatever's built in or whatever. So that's my answer.
Bold. Very bold. Did anybody say they code with no monitors? They sure did. 1 person, I made an exception to the rule, said 0 monitors, and they said, I am fully blind, and I do everything by touch. So they don't use a monitor because they can't see.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So you get 20 points for that. Congratulations. And the number 1 answer is still out there. So I'll award those. We'll go back to keyframers, and we'll go to David for the last one out there. I think you can probably infer what it is. Yes.
Two.
Yes. The number one answer.
16 monitors.
Yes, 16. 2 monitors, 50. Literally half of the people are using 2 monitors when they code. That's worth 5 points. We'll award those. And thus ends our inverted round. Good job, Adam. I didn't think anybody was going to get the 0 on this one because it's so obscure. But there we go. All right, let's head to round 4. Okay, so beginning round 4, we have Keyframers with 76, CSS Podcast with 115. It's anybody's game. There's 2 more regular rounds, and then the last round is double points. So if you're behind, you have a big chance of coming back in round 6. We asked 100 JS Party listeners to finish this sentence. I couldn't code without what? Without blank. We'll now have an interface off. We're back to David and Yuna facing off. So Yuna went first the first time, right? And we'll have David go first this time. David, there are 6 answers on the board. What couldn't people code without? I will say on this round and a few others, the responses vary but kind of mean the same thing. So we group into categories. So if you hit a very specific thing, it's in a category, I'll let you know, and we won't count it as a guess.
Okay, well, I know that I can't code without coffee. I turn coffee into code, so. Okay,
show us coffee. It's on the board. Where is it on the board? It's at number 4 with 11 responses. So Yuna does have a chance to match higher than that. What is something else that people can't code without?
Continuing on the alliteration, I can't code without a computer.
Without a computer, taking it very literally.
The math checks out.
Did our audience take it as literally as that? They sure did. Number 1 answer was hardware, whether it was a keyboard. People said keyboard. They said computer. They said electricity or internet.
I was thinking electricity.
We grouped all those together, and that's 23 people. So CSS Podcast, you are playing this round. Adam, we go to you. There's still 4 slots open. What else can people not code without?
Nice. We've crossed off a lot of them. Does second monitor, is that in hardware? I kind of assume it would be.
Second monitor, yeah. Any sort of hardware is in there. Even no monitor is in there, I suppose.
Knowing some of your listeners, I'm going to say TypeScript.
Ooh.
Show us TypeScript. I'm happy to announce that that is incorrect.
Yeah, I'm actually in the same boat. I don't need TypeScript, but I thought everyone else did.
You've been overwhelmed. Yes, you've been influenced by Nick Nisi. He's strong on the message, but no, we are out there still in force, us regular JavaScript authors. All right, but that's a strike. So we go back to Yuna. Now you got 1 strike against you.
All right, I'm still on this literal train. I can't code without a text editor of some sort.
Show us text editor. Yeah, number 2 answer, 22 responses. Some said editor, some said specific editors like Vim, VS Code, etc. We put them all in one group. And that was number 2. So we're back to Adam, 1 strike. You got half the board cleared, but it's still half up there. What do you think?
It's getting tricky.
You got this, Adam.
I'd say hands, but is that hardware? And I know that people can code without their hands, right? You're just no, I don't need hands to code. I'll code with my voice. Code in VR with your elbows or something. I don't know. I am going to say hands, fingers and hands.
That's not grouped into hardware. I think that's kind of wetware. I don't know what kind of wear that is, but is it on there? Yes, it is.
Oh, nice.
Oh, I got lucky. Oh, man. I thought for sure I was going down.
And it's in the general category of body parts. So this includes brains, hands, eyeballs, and other such things that you can't code without. At least some people cannot. All right. So that's still 1 strike. Back to Yuna. We got 2 things left, 3 and 6.
All right. I'm thinking people would probably say something like Stack Overflow or a way to help them get answers. So I'm going to say Stack Overflow. I don't know if that's been grouped into a larger section.
Is Stack Overflow one of the things that people cannot code without? Yes, it is. And it's grouped into the generic thing of Google, Stack Overflow, GitHub, web resources.
Helpers.
Yeah, 14 people. So the board is almost cleared. You got 5 of 6. The last one is still on there. 76 points awarded so far, and 1 strike. You got 2 guesses at number 6. Back to Adam.
Okay, there's some silly ones on here, but I feel like another silly one is sitting there at number 6. I could go really heady, purpose, but I don't think your audience people were I can only code with purpose.
What are you trying to say about our audience? They don't have purpose?
I'm a user-centric engineer, so for me, I'd be like, I can't code unless there's a user, because otherwise I'm just coding into the ether. But again, heady, don't think anyone else is going to say that. It's a very Adam thing to say.
You could be your own user.
I could be my own user. I'm going to go with the only other thing on my list that maybe makes sense, which is funding, money. You have to give me stuff to do this. I'm not going to do this for free-ish.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, compensation maybe. Show us compensation. Sorry, not on there. Compensation.
I thought it was a good try.
It was a good guess. But, some of us just code for the love. 2 strikes.
That's true.
2 strikes. Una, back to you.
I lose money when I code.
That happens as well. Yeah.
Time is money. I don't think I have a better answer, but the place my mind went was like, what are your physical needs when you're doing any task? And sleep is one of them. So maybe I can't code if I'm sleep deprived. I need my sleep.
Show us sleep. I'm sorry, sleep is not on the list, but this provides opportunity to the keyframers to get back in the game here. Lots of points to steal. We turn to you. You can discuss. It's number 6, so not very many people said it. In fact, 5 said it. But what do you think they said? What was that last response? Go ahead and discuss.
So, Shaw, one recent trend that's been all over Twitter and the internets has been AI, ChatGPT. And I know that personally, I rely on it like a good bunch to do coding. So
yeah, I think that's good. I don't know that the audience will be fully on that train.
Don't underestimate them.
So none is a possibility here. I couldn't code without
That's
none.
always a possibility. Yeah, I reject your premise, sir. Yes.
There's at least one response that's Ruby on Rails.
Yeah, for sure.
That's true.
But a more realistic answer is probably like source control, like Git, that kind of thing, or open source like NPM and.
So we got AI on one hand and open source.
Where do you think our audience is going?
I feel like when asked this question, like a lot, I don't know, I'm still stuck on the ChatGPT thing, or Copilot. That's what I meant.
All right, let's go with it.
Now, a quick meta game here. What if one of you is right and the other one's wrong? How are we going to feel that we go with one and not the other? Is this going to tear up the keyframers?
Just half the points.
Could this be the end of the keyframers as we know it? The behind the band, years from now, like what happened was this answer on Front-End Feud. Well, let's see what it is here. You said GitHub Copilot/AI helpers. Did our audience say that? I'm sorry, but they did not.
Oh man, I'm so sorry.
But in order to keep the band together, I'll also say Shaw was also wrong. And the correct answer, well, let's award these points here to CSS Pod.
Terminal, right?
And the correct answer was peace and quiet and muting all the things. And so they need to have quiet.
Space. They need a space.
So Una was in the ballpark with her physical needs. Sleep was a little bit outside of what they were saying. Now, there were other responses.
I guess you have peace when you're sleeping. Come on.
You still got the points. Yeah.
just kidding. I thought that source control was a very good answer.
I did too, as well. Like tooling in general, you would think, although editor's kind of on the fringe of that. But one person said patience and stubbornness, which I thought was funny because we asked for one thing. One person said wasting 50% of my time on meetings. And so they were pretty sour. And then talk about literal. The one thing I can't code without are the letters C, O, D, and E. So that was a snarky response, I thought.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. So thanks, guys. All right. So thus ends round 4.
I'm surprised no one said programming languages.
And there was no Ruby on Rails. So while it was a good guess, they got sick of answering that particular thing. After 4 rounds, we have CSS Podcast pulling away a little bit. It's still in play, but it's 191 to 76. Let's move to round 5. All right. Oh, and it turns out, I forgot this, but round 5 is also inverted. So this will be just like round 3, where we go back and forth. You're trying to match the bottom of the board. And the phrase they're matching against is my primary web browser is blank. My primary web browser is blank. Let's start with the keyframers this time. And David.
All right, the hot new one is Arc. I feel like there's a couple of people who've answered that.
Okay.
It is a great browser.
Show us Arc. You are correct, sir, and it's near the bottom of the list, number 4. So you're awarded 20 points for that.
Yes.
Very nice answer. Now we go over to CSS Pod, Una.
I'm just going to say Chrome.
She's taking the easy points. Is Chrome on there? Of course it is. And it is number 1. So you get 5 points. Back to Keyframers and Shaw.
Oh, I didn't realize this was an inverted one. My bad. That was my fault. I thought it was a normal one, and then
Hey, 5 points is 5 points.
I'm gonna go Safari. I think that's probably toward the bottom.
Show us Safari. Yes, it is the worst answer, which makes it the best answer.
Yes.
6 people, 25 points. I'll award those to you. The plot thickens. Adam, we're over to you. 2 and 3 are still on the board.
Yeah, Firefox.
Firefox is on there. Number 2, 10 points awarded to you. And Keyframers, can they swipe up? What's the word? Swoop up? Sweep up. That's the word. Can they sweep up these last 15 points? David's turn.
What's in the middle?
I mean, I have 2 good answers. One of them is silly. One of them is more realistic. But considering the audience, I'm going to say people gave a joke answer of Internet Explorer.
That's a very interesting guess. Is it on there? No. They took this one seriously. You had the exact wrong time to go jokey. Una.
Oh, Microsoft Edge.
Yep.
The other one from Microsoft.
Microsoft Edge.
Oh.
Not on the list. Back to Keyframers with Shaw.
Come on, Shaw.
Man, the only other one on my list right now is Brave. Given the tech audience, that seems to be a go-to. Is it on there?
Show us Brave.
Strong.
Yes, it is. You found it. At number
nice.
3, 16 people using Brave, worth 15 points. And that concludes round 5. Hey, it's a tight game. We have Keyframers with 136, CSS Podcast with 206. There were a couple other answers. So 4 people said Edge, 2 with Vivaldi.
That's less than Safari. Should have been more points.
Yeah, but it didn't make the top. Like it didn't have the requisite 5.
It's tricky. Wow.
And there's 1 lonely Opera user. Hi, Opera user.
Oh.
Aw.
Hey there, it's K-Ball from JS Party, and I want to talk to you about a new service I'm offering for engineers. As you advance from junior to senior to staff engineer or move into management, there comes a point where the skills that got you to where you are not enough to keep you moving forward, where the answer to your question isn't on Stack Overflow because your problem has more to do with people and how to get them to make the right choices than about writing code. Congratulations, you've reached the border to becoming an engineering leader. If you're lucky, when you hit this point, you have a manager or senior peer that can help guide you through the transition, but most of us aren't that lucky, and that's where I want to help. Coaching engineers through the transition to becoming engineering leaders was the most satisfying part of my last job, and now I'm offering it as a paid service. Now, you may have never worked with a coach before, and you're not sure what it would look like. I get it. That's why I'm offering free exploratory sessions to try it out, learn what it's like, and work through a challenge you're facing right now. So if you're curious or you're feeling stuck, head over to kball.llc/coaching. You can learn more about what I'm offering and sign up for your free exploratory session. That's kball.llc/coaching.
Now go to our final round, and this one has twice as many points on the board.
I love that music.
Thank you. Round 6, the final round, double score. We'll go back to our interface off. This time it'll be Shaw versus Adam. And please remind me who went first the first time so I can be fair. Was it you, Shaw?
I think it was me.
Okay. Does that sound right?
I don't know.
It was so long ago. Well, let's just assume you're correct and go with Adam. So the question, what one word sums up why you make software? And I'll say this is another one where we end up grouping some words together that meant very similar things, but there are 6 answers on the board. It's anybody's game. Probably whoever wins this round wins this edition of Front End Feud. So no pressure, Adam, but you're up.
Thank you for that no pressure warning.
You're welcome.
Okay, I'm just going to say it's for the love. It's not, maybe it's in the middle. I don't know. Love. Passion,
Show us love. I'm
Dang.
sorry.
I'm alone. I'm alone in that, apparently.
That hurts.
No love. There's no love on this board. Shaw, that means it's wide open for you to take the round.
Yeah, the opposite of love, money, I'm going to say is on there.
Well played. Show us money. Yep, that one's on there. And it is in slot number 2.
Wow.
15 people responded, which is worth 30 points. And you now take the board. So keyframers will play this round. Number 2 is taken. 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are still out there. David, what do you think?
For fun, enjoyment, pleasure, fun.
Fun, enjoyment, pleasure, but notably not love, but
No.
fun.
No.
Is fun on there? Oh, number 1 answer.
Yes.
Joy, fun, enjoyment. Very good. Okay, 1 and 2 are gone. Shot, back to you.
To solve a problem, fulfill a need.
Your second phrase kind of ruined it for me. Do I give it to him anyways? It's close.
Yes.
I'll give it to you. Number 3 was puzzles, challenges, and problem solving. To fill a need was kind of like maybe moving beyond the whole challenge of it, but I'll give it to you.
No, you need to solve a problem. Makes sense.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Well, like I need some piece of software to do XYZ, so I write it myself.
Yeah, see, that's further away. These people are thinking like the puzzle aspect, like the challenge of us. But you got problem solving. That's like literally in the list. So I gave it to you. You're good to go. 1 through 3, you have 4 through 6 on the board. No strikes yet. So David, you're up.
I know a lot of people, like, besides it being a job, a lot of people just like automating stuff. So I would say for automation.
Show us automation. There were a couple that agreed with you, but not enough to make the board. So there's your first strike. It's getting pressure filled at this point. You need 3 more to take the game. So, Shaw.
Jeez. So it's one word too. That makes things tricky. Like to help, like helping others. That's 2 words, but
Show me help. Sorry, but help is not on there. Now we're down to 2 strikes. We have 1 more guess, 3 on the board. So your back's up against it, but you can still do this. David, what do you think?
Okay, so sums up why you make software. You could do it for a job. You could do it for money. As a puzzle, I make software to, you know what? For which this is sort of a silly answer, but for fame, people want to, be known.
For the fame. Do JS Party listeners want the fame? Let's see it. I'm sorry, but they did not say fame. Pretty good guess. We have the steal available to you guys over there at the CSS pod to retain your championship. You got 3 opportunities to drill it. What are you thinking?
Oh, this is hard.
I'm so glad they said a few that were on my list. Like, David, you and I were on the same page, and I was like, oh, they're going to win. And then I was like, oh.
I expected more people to say automation for sure.
Yeah, automation was definitely on mine.
Mm-hmm.
So on mine, I have tell a story, and I have lols. Just for the lols, I do it because I'm trying to think of what silly stuff people put in this,
I think that's the first one, the joy fun.
Yeah, I would group that under joy.
So that just leaves me telling a story, and that's, I don't know. This is a tough one. Because you got, ends meet. You're just like making money. You got job security. So it's not like that one kind of wraps up, family security or whatever. Like I write software because it's like a stable tech job. Maybe that's it. It's stable. Software is perceptively stable. I don't know.
What do you think, Yuna?
Are we allowed to talk on this one?
Yeah, this is a steal.
Oh, I wasn't sure. Okay. I have some thoughts. I mean, my first thought is like, the money, the benefits. That's probably included in the job, all those reasons. I also think like the impact of making software, reaching people, kind of making a difference, like the way that you can work on something that a lot of people use, it feels like there's purpose to it.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that's in problem solving. I was thinking the same thing, but I didn't know.
But I don't think it is because the way Jared responded to that answer.
Are you trying to read my eyes?
Yeah.
I'm over here. I'm on Reddit, so I'm not sure what you guys are talking about.
I think that the logic aspect of it is like the challenge, but the impact aspect of it is like, why do you do that?
Impact is a good one. Yeah.
All right, should we go with that?
Yeah.
Impact, making a difference.
Okay, so to set the stage, we have Keyframers 136, CSS Podcast 206. These points are theirs unless you can steal it. You have 3 opportunities on the board. You guessed impact. We've already have joy, money, puzzles. What else could be possibly on there? Is impact on the board? Yes, it is. It's grouped into satisfaction, accomplishment, and impact. So 6 people said that. That's 12 points. That's a steal. That's all the points. And once again, the CSS Podcast defend, this time, their championship. You are the winner. Once again, congratulations.
That made an impact, Una. Well done.
Woo. Let's clear the rest of this board just for the lulz. Number 4 was creativity.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Or craft or hobby. They do it as a hobby. Sometimes you're like, isn't that fun? Yeah, but they said the word hobby, not the word fun. So trying to keep some separate categories there. Number 5, curiosity and interest. Again, somewhat related to problem solving and challenges, but they were using these words, and so we let them stand on their own 2 feet. A couple other, 4 people said love, Adam. 4 people. So you were close.
That's cool.
2 people said passion, which maybe you could put in with love and make a category, but I didn't. 2 people love the magic.
That all feels like it goes together.
1 said laziness.
Magic, love, passion.
Yeah, laziness and automation.
And of course, stubbornness is back. Our stubbornness answer reoccurs. So that rounds out our game. So at the end of 6 rounds, CSS Podcast 312, Keyframers, you guys played a heck of a game. It came down to it at the very end, but at the end of the day, CSS Pod champs once again. Congrats.
Great job.
Good job, Sean, David. You killed it.
Thank you.
We won't be bitter.
I still like your source control answer.
Thank you. This audience just needs to get on board.
They do. They really do. Especially the Ruby guy.
The Ruby guy. Come on, Ruby guy.
Well, I couldn't remember any run times at the beginning of this. I was just stuck.
That was tough.
So at the end of the Super Bowl, they interview the winning team and they ask them very heartfelt questions. And so I will do that now with Una and Adam. Adam, you put your heart out there today. You had some silly answers. You had some sarcastic ones that really hit. I felt like you really reverberated with our audience, if that's even the right word, which it's not. What was your emotion when you realized that this final answer was correct? Like, what'd you feel out there?
Oh, thanks, Jared. When I came into that final question, I was listening to Una, I was listening to all the options, and I really just had to internalize it. That's me sipping Gatorade. But you know what? As soon as she said impact, I knew it. I felt it to my core. It was just so obvious. And so we went with that, and then we won. Oh, yeah!
I love Adam's football voice. Oh, he left the screen.
He's gone.
He's out of
going
frame.
to Disneyland. Yeah. Una, at the end there, we thought we had maybe a fumble. You didn't realize you could even talk. And so Adam's over there. You left him on an island, no communication. He's fumbling and bumbling. He's saying things that don't make any sense. And then out of nowhere, at the very end, you swoop in and you bring your logic and reasoning. Like, what motivated you to swoop in at the end there?
Well, I gotta say, it's a team effort. I wanted to make sure my teammate had a platform, was able to get out, was on his mind. And honestly, I was just being a little silly in that moment. But here we are. All that matters is we made it in the end. We made it in the end, my friend. We ended up on top.
CSS Pod.
Woo! I'm in a chair. I can't run.
Very good. Well, I'd ask you what you were going to do with the winnings, but of course there aren't any because this is a silly game show.
We're going to Disneyland.
Made by silly people on a silly podcast.
Oh, we're not going to Disneyland?
You can go to Disneyland if you like. It's just going to cost you quite a bit, I believe, as it's a hot place to travel these days. Well, Keyframer guys, thanks so much for playing. David and Shaw, it was a valiant effort. We really appreciate that. Of course, CSS Podcast, you're invited back to defend your championship the next time, as we asked 30 questions on this survey, and we only used 6. So we have a lot left in the barrel, so to speak, and we don't have to nag our listeners to play some more games. So that's very cool. Of course, one of our listeners will be drawn at random for that Free JS Party t-shirt, one of the people that took the survey, so stay tuned for that. We'll probably announce it in our Slack, and I'll also just email you if you're the winner. If you're not the winner and you want some of that sweet, sweet swag, merch.changelog.com, of course, go get yourself a t-shirt. But yeah, this has been Frontend Feud, another awesome battle. I've been Jared. This is JS Party. And thanks, y'all. We'll talk to you next time.
Boop, 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 boop.
If you had fun listening to this episode, check out the back catalog. This is the 6th time we've hosted a feud. You can also find every dev game show we've ever played at changelog.com/topic/games. And on Spotify in my dev game shows playlist for those of you who like to mix your music and your pods. Like I mix my mashed potatoes, gravy, peas, turkey, corn, and everything else together at Thanksgiving. Actually, that does sound pretty good. Maybe I'll have to give Spotify one more look. Nah, I'm good. Oh, you're still here. Then let me thank our partners once again, Fastly and Fly. Thank you for helping us make JS Party possible. And of course, our Beatmaster in Residence, BMC. That Frontend Feud theme song is off the charts. Thank you. Next up on the pod, Daniel Thompson from the Towery Project joins the show. Have you heard of Towery? It helps you build smaller, faster, and more secure desktop apps with a web front end. Kind of like Electron, but with a few important advantages. Stay tuned for that. We'll drop it into your podcast feed next week.